its own, invited member countries that we are having a special conference and request all the countries to send their representative for the conference because we want to find out that when there was so much of seriousness in finalizing the text, in adopting the text of Marpol, 5 years has elapsed and only three countries have come forward. And what was the point? There has to be a reason, and let's discuss the reason. Countries came forward in 1978 and they said that we have no problem of implementing Annex 1 of MARC, but we will definitely have problems of implementing Annex 2 of MARPOL, so we are not coming forward to sign. So you may wonder, that time when MARPOL was made, it had only 5 annexes. The Air Pollution Annex 6 was added much later in 1977, and I'll be discussing that in detail. So what was the only focus of Annex 1 and 2? What about 3, 4, and 5? I would like to highlight, and you have to remember this, that Marpol is a very, very unique convention. But if we take any other convention, let's say SOLAS, let's say this is what SOLAS, I read this book. When a country signs for it, they are under obligation to ratify, to practically implement cover to cover. There is no option कि हाँ भैया ये ठीक है, we are comfortable with this, we will ratify this, we will not ratify. No. If you have problem with ratifying, that is practically implementing some part of it, don't sign for it. But once you have signed, there is no option, you have to do the whole thing. It's logical. Marpol is a very unique convention. Only Annex 1 and Annex 2 of Marpol are mandatory annexes. Annex 3, Annex 4, Annex 5, and today Annex 6 also, they are all optional annexes. What does this mean? That when a country signs for Marpol, they are under an obligation to ratify, to practically implement only Annex 1 and Annex 2. That's it. It's a very unique thing because Annex 3, Annex 4, Annex 5, and today Annex 6 are optional. If a country wants to ratify, that is practically implement any of these, they have to come forward to sign for each of them separately. That is entirely up to the country. For example, if we take the case of India, India signed for Marpol, that is Annex 1 and 2 because they are mandatory. India signed separately for Annex 3, separately for Annex 4, separately for Annex 5, and as recent as 2012, yes, 22nd July 2012, India signed separately for Annex 6. So India is following all 6. There may be some countries, the Baltic countries, they have signed for Marpol 1 and 2, that is, they implement 1 and 2, and they have signed for Annex 4, 2A. So they follow 1, 2, and 4. Are you with me till here?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So, since we have talked about the optional annexes, I'd like to take this opportunity. That is the reason if we were doing the statutory and mandatory certificate, the APP, International Air Pollution Prevention Certificate, is not a statutory certificate because you will only find it on the ship if your flag country has signed and thereafter ratified Annex 6. Then it's a requirement. So that's why Annex 6 is a miscellaneous certificate. How does the fourth country, because air pollution system, especially in European Union countries, is very, very strict. They want ships visiting their country to follow the air pollution prevention requirements. So how is a ship treated in European Union ports if the flag country of that ship has not signed for Annex 6? So they said, okay, our focus is not on the IAPP certificate, but we just want you to ensure that whatever the air pollution prevention requirements are, they are followed. That's why PHC will go out of the way during the inspection if they find that the ship does not have an IAPP certificate, then they'll see, okay, whether the EEDI requirements or steam requirements or your NOx and SOx requirements are being followed. They are happy. The focus, therefore, from the certificate shifts to physical checking. If the IAPP certificate is on the ship, that means the flag state has ratified it. By the way, almost 95% of the countries have ratified now because countries, the flag countries, they have large number of ships registered. They don't want the ships to be going through any kind of problem, so they are into it. If the ship has an IAPP certificate, PSC will not go deep into it. If it does not, okay, fine, we will not degrade your ship because you don't have a certificate. It's an optional annex. We understand that, but then, Captain, she said, the chief engineer, we want to go into the engine room and check all this. So that is the part of the IAPP certificate. Now, coming to the point here. When the conference was held in 1978, countries openly, including India, said that we will have a lot of problems in practically implementing Annex 2. So we are not signing because Annex 2 is a mandatory annex. So Marpol sign कर दिया तो 1 and 2 तो करना ही पड़ेगा. फिर माथा पकड़ के बैठ जाएंगे हम. So then what IMO on its own said, okay, fine. Please come forward to sign Marpol. We will give you the countries extra time and any advice, consulting advice required how to go about implementing it free of cost. And we will give you extra time for Annex 2 implementation. So country said, okay, that is fine. That is the reason Annex 1 came into force on 2nd of October 1983, whereas Annex 2 came into force on 4th of April 1987. They said, we will give you more time. Otherwise, because when we take Marpol Convention, the focus was on the mandatory annex. Therefore, entry into force after the required signature, both Annex 1 and Annex 2 should have come into force on the same day, that is 2nd October 1983. So that is a separate thing. And countries also got the assistance. But at the same conference, countries came forward and suggested that in the past 5 years, which is a fact, recorded maritime history, that the decades of the 70s, 70 to 70, 70s to 80, which included the period 73 to 78, saw the maximum amount of marine pollution by ships, accidental or operational. now that we are all the more clear after discussion on UNCLOS, that time UNCLOS was not into existence. I have told you that somewhere south of Cyprus and near Greek, southernmost Greek island, there was a circle marked on the chart which was like a no man's land, no countries, water. And actually, tankers used to go, and it was a very large diameter circle, very, about maybe 50-mile diameter. Tankers, running around, going around in circles, doing the tank washing, discharging the water, dirty ballast. Now, obviously, water never stayed there. It was polluting the coast of the countries in that area. I mean, that was a fact. And that had to be stopped, which was thanks to UNCLOS, it was stopped. The point was because the 70s was a decade of the worst case scenario of marine pollution from ships. We are talking about, mainly from tank washing and other kind of things. The country, they said, the text which was adopted in 1973, it needs to be changed. We need to add a large number of things like segregated ballast tanks, like load on top procedures, etc., etc., etc. Add your oily water separators in the machinery room, ODMCS for the cargo tank, all that. A lot of things needs to be added. So in order to understand, let's add. Can you see the blank slide, please, just to confirm?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let's say, let's make a box. Anyway, let's. I just want to make it a little easier. Let's assume this was the Marpol text which was adopted in 1973. What they did was they made huge changes in such a way that finally in the 1978 Marpol text was adopted in 1978. It became huge. Now, already 5 years had elapsed. Countries that decided practically when we implement the 1978 text, we are not losing out on anything because on the existing 1973 text we have added on it. कोई नया तो कुछ किया नहीं है मतलब we have not built it from scratch. We have just added many things in it. Practically, we are not losing. So why should we bother to delete officially, legally, the 1973 text? Because that is a very, very huge process. It can take another 5, 6 years before the process can actually start. So because as I have said, that once the text is adopted, it becomes a legal text. You cannot, legal document, you cannot play around with it. So because the countries they decided, let us not waste the time in calling conference after conference because the legal process of actually deleting a legal document, a part of international law. Let's not waste any time because practically we are not losing anything. Even till today in the archives of IMO, the original 1973 text is lying as it is because it had been adopted. Till today, it has not been deleted. And before it came into force, it was amended by the 78 adopted text. It is called Marpol 7378 because the present Marpol that we have, it started with the two adopted texts which were adopted in 2 different years. Are you with me till now?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Hypothetically, thanks, Peter. Hypothetically, if we say that despite all the reasons that I have shared with you, let's say if Marpol 73 had come into force, the Marpol would have till today known as Marpol 73, 78, okay, whatever the reason was, it would have been coming as an amendment. And if in 1978 countries would have said to hell with the loss of practicality, we will be politically correct. We will start the implementation only after the original text is deleted. Well, then today, Marpol would have been known as Marpol 78. But because till today, this 1973 text is not deleted, it had been adopted, legal document, it is known as 7373. The second, the second reason also which is asked that why it is called as amended by the protocol of 70. The incorrect thing is, Marpol being known as 73, 78 and being amended by protocol of 78. They are two different issues. One issue we have dealt with, other issue, the meaning of protocol. For that, let's come to another slide. Actually, the confusion arises because the term protocol has got five functions in international law. We are not going to become lawyers. We are very proud mariners and we will remain. But once we understand, it is understood for life. Because you will come across the word protocol very frequently between now and ASM. And once you clear now, we will be clear for life. These are the five functions. The confusion arises whichever function is being used, only the word protocol is mentioned. But we are lucky, these four functions of protocol we don't have to enter into because any of the IMO functions now or in future have got nothing to do with this. We delete. Only this function of protocol has been used, and that is what we will focus on. Protocol to amend, short form protocol. Now, as it says, protocol to amend means something is being changed. That is, the convention is being changed. But in all cases, most of the cases, we're talking about all IMO conventions and the INO 2 convention, MLC, which I'll be doing, and the SID convention. Any change to the convention, we call it an amendment. Correct? Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So, what is so important about a particular change to the IMO or ILO convention that it cannot be called as an amendment? It comes under this function, and short form, it is called as a protocol. Two conditions have to be fulfilled for that particular change to the convention. First, first is the reason requiring change to the convention must be of vital importance. I'll give you an example. It has to be something drastic. Like, ये तो अब change होना ही होना है. The reason is extremely important. Second, the change to the convention must change the, as they say, face, or you can say structure of the convention. When these two requirements are fulfilled, the change to the convention will never be called as an amendment. It will come under this function of protocol to amend, and that change will never be called an amendment. It will be called as a protocol. Let's take an example. Any guess that what was the change that was a very big change that was brought about to the Marpol Convention in 1997? Any guess? I mean, if you don't know, I'm here.
Annex 6.
Excellent. 10 on 10. 10 on 10. Introduction of the new Annex 6. Let's take it first one by one. The reason requiring change to the convention of vital importance, global warming and discharge of greenhouse gases into the atmosphere from any industries, including ships. It was a reason of global importance. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And the second reason, the change to the convention, but change the structure of the convention. How? When we earlier mentioned Marpol, we meant 5 annexes. Now, when we mention Marpol, we mean 6 annexes. Number 2, up till now, that is Annex 1 to Annex 5, only dealt with prevention of pollution of the marine environment from ship operations. For the first time in history of Marpol, the convention was also going to be dealing with prevention of the air environment from ship operations. The whole thing, the introduction of Annex completely changed the structure of the Marpol Convention. So therefore, introduction of Annex 6 in 1997 is not called amendment to Marpol in 1997. It is called Protocol of 1997. Are you with me till here?
Yes, sir. Sir, question is the amendment is greater or protocol is greater? So protocol is greater than amendment?
100%. भाई अमेंडमेंट तो ये है कि भाई ठीक है, ये जो आपके पहले 1.5% जो सॉक्स की लिमिट थी, इट इज अमेंडेड टू 0.5। एक एग्जिस्टिंग चीज को आपने चेंज कर दिया तो वो तो अमेंडमेंट हो गया। तो बड़ी
So,
चीज। हाँ
so
बोलो।
in case, just like you said that if when Annex 6 comes into force, that it will be protocol because everything now Marpol is completely different because it now has one more annex.
करेक्ट।
Then it will become
बिकॉज
protocol.
यस, बिकॉज these two elements of this function called protocol to amend were fulfilled। तो कहने का मतलब ये है कि भाई अगर हर 6 महीने 1 साल में आपको प्रोटोकॉल लाना पड़े कि हर बार बहुत बड़े बड़े चेंजेस करने पड़े, तो यार द कन्वेंशन इज लाइक अ टॉयलेट पेपर, उसको खत्म करो, नया बनाओ। So therefore, protocol to any convention they come in maybe 15, 20 years. 15-20 साल बाद की नई अब बहुत बड़ा चेंज करना पड़ेगा तो प्रोटोकॉल आता है। तो when we are talking about protocol in case of our convention, बाकी जो 4 convention functions है प्रोटोकॉल का, we don't deal with it, we only deal with it। So every 15-20 years a protocol will come। Amendment can come every 6 months। छोटा हाँ भाई ये paragraph is now no longer applicable, ship design है change, we delete it, we add। Amendment come every 6 months, छोटे छोटे। Protocol is something very big। So practically, if you come across a statement that so and so protocol to a convention is coming, put a lot of focus. That means something very big is coming। I'll give you other example like solar came into force in was adopted in 1974, the one which we are dealing with। 1988 में 14 साल बाद एक पहला प्रोटोकॉल आया। I don't know what large number of things were changed, changing the whole structure of solar। Load line was adopted in 1966। पहला प्रोटोकॉल उनका 22 साल बाद 1988 में आया। All technical details were changed and how it changed the structure because they changed the extent of the summer load line। You know, पहले it used to be a straight line on the load line map, then where it was marked to include New Zealand, it comes like this। पहले it was New Zealand was not part of the summer zone। So it changed the whole load line zone। 1988 में पहला प्रोटोकॉल आया। So there are many conventions, they have protocol, but after 10, 15, 20 years, when they are changing the whole structure, जैसे for example, we did the OPRC convention, remember? Yes or no?
Yes,
Yes, sir.
So why that is called OPRC-HNS protocol? It changed the structure of the convention। पहला convention was only dealing with contingency, regional contingency required for oil pollution incident। Now the same convention was going to be dealing with contingency for marine pollution other than oil, that is chemicals and products। It changed the structure, so it is known as an HNS protocol। So, to again answer your question, protocol means अमेंडमेंट है, लेकिन बहुत बड़ा अमेंडमेंट है जो मतलब गौर से उसको देखना पड़ेगा फॉर प्रैक्टिकल एप्लीकेशन। So, coming back to our this discussion that we started, why the title of Marpol is 7378? Marpol 73 as amended by the protocol of 1978, because all these additions that they made to the existing text, it virtually changed the structure of this। Build उसी पे किया था उन्होंने। but it changed the face of the adopted text of 73. So in the title it is as amended by the protocol of 78, short form 73, 78. So be very clear in your mind. There are two different issues. A, why it is called 73/78, वो मैंने बताया आपको, that it was amended before the 73 came into force, and 73 original convention is still today, 21st June 2021, it is lying in the archives as it is. And it was amended by the protocol of 70. अभी के at this एक बार understanding हो गए, very common question in your maths oral, 50% chances even in your ASM oral, this is up. एक बार आपने इस तरह से practically समझ लिया, तो it will remain with you throughout. Any questions?
No, sir.
So, now, by the way, uh, the two things that suddenly struck me. The April and May back, whatever EK note, the boiler thing, entire PPT plus, just give me a moment. What more I had with me, which I have. Other than the boiler note, I had something on incinerator on board ships, then shipboard oily water separator, and the steering. So for the April and May back, I've already sent it. June back, I am expecting to get your consolidated email today. So either by evening or latest by tomorrow morning, my all your things plus whatever the TK thing which I have sent to the April and May back, my responsibility, I will send it to you. With regard to the magnetism, uh, although the whole week Mr. Prasood said he's on leave, but still I was able to touch base with him today morning, and he said he will check, but he says that he should have sent the April and May back on mail, the note on magnetism. Can someone check? And accordingly, I will tell him कि उनको मिला है कि नहीं मिला है, so then it will be resent to you. And of course, he has said the consolidated event of the June batch, he has not received it like me. तो उसको आप लोग को तो मिलेगा ही मिलेगा. Can somebody check the email, because I will then touch base with them to inform the April and May back. 5 minutes लगेगा कि वो magnetism का, so that I get an update from you, and I don't want to disturb him. Disturb him from the news that he will see. So I'll send him a WhatsApp text. Okay, someone can go. अगर नहीं मिला है, no problem. I'll tell him. जूट बैग मेरी जिम्मेदारी है, सबको सबको मिलेगा, अदर देन व्हाट यू हैव ऑलरेडी डाउनलोडेड, what addition has been sent from my side to the April and May batch, you will get it.
यस सर, मेल आया है 7 जून को फॉर मे बैच, और शेयर पॉइंट का उन्होंने एक लिंक शेयर किया है।
तो नहीं, एक बार अगर वो लिंक खोल के बता दो कि भाई दिस इज व्हाट यू आर लुकिंग फॉर, और accordingly, as because he will come to your class only on Monday, he's on leave the whole week.
है सर, नेविट्स है, मैग्नेटिक कंपास भी है सर।
Okay, great. तो अप्रैल बैच को भी आ गया होगा, आई सपोज।
सर प्रसून सर ने एक अटैचमेंट भेजा था सर, जिसमें ही हैज दिस कंसोलिडेटेड the all the all the consolidated notes were there, including gyro compass and all. मैग्नेटिक नहीं था,
वो
बाकी
तो
सब था उसमें।
वो वाला तो हम लोग की पिछले हफ्ते ही बात हुई थी कि उसमें नैवेट वगैरह था, पर मैग्नेटिक कंपस नहीं था। तो वो मेरी जो आज सुबह बात हुई उनसे, तो उन्होंने कहा वो, जहाँ तक उनको याद है कि अप्रैल डे बैच को अलग से ईमेल पे भेजा है, और उन्होंने कहा कि अभी तो जून के ईमेल कंसोलिडेट होके आए नहीं हैं, तो वो पूरी बाय नेक्स्ट वीक वो भेज देंगे, देयर इज नो हरी इन दैट। तो अगर आप बता देते तो देन आई वुड सेंड हिम दिस कि भाई जो आप लोग को क्लास में एज अ रिविजन करने के लिए नोट्स थे, वो उस अटैचमेंट में हैं, तो देन अकॉर्डिंगली आई कैन इन्फॉर्म, और अगर कुछ और चाहिए तो आई कैन इन्फॉर्म देम अकॉर्डिंग। वो ये मेरा इंटेंट है, और कोई
नो सर, मैग्नेटिक कंपास का नहीं है, बाकी सब।
अभी बाकी है, और कुछ चाहिए?
मैग्नेटिक कंपास का हम लोग को नोट्स नहीं आया है सर, अप्रैल बैच को। बाकी वो अटैचमेंट आया था जो कंसोलिडेटेड एक्सेप्ट मैग्नेटिक कंपास, हम लोगों ने ये बात उनको बताई भी थी।
हाँ, ठीक है। तो और अभी वन ऑफ द डे बैक की एक कोई लिंक लिंक की बात जो आप कर रहे थे या फॉर मैग्नेटिक कंपास, तो उससे वो
If may guys can forward that one to one of us, then we can share.
या ऐसा करो, इजी वो रहेगा कि वो वाला लिंक जो है वो मुझे फॉरवर्ड कर दो। यू मे नॉट हैव एवरीबडी ईमेल इन द अप्रैल बैच, मैं अप्रैल बैच को डायरेक्टली 5 मिनट में कर दूंगा। वन ऑफ यू मे, ठीक है बेटा?
यस सर।
तो वो मुझे कर दो, तो समटाइम टुडे आई विल फॉरवर्ड इट, मैं देख भी लूंगा और फिर सर को बता भी दूंगा मैं। Okay, so let's take a break. And I have got lecture number 6, 15:45 to 16:45. I will continue the discussion on Marpol. And not today, then I will touch upon OPA 90 also, which is also a very common question. And I'll be going in detail with that also. So if everything okay with all of you, we can take a break. Your next lecture will start at 10, oh sorry, 11:30, and that is Mr. Arun Gulat. So can we take a break? 20 minutes break. 11:10.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Thanks, guys. Have a good day, and I will
एंड
see
सर
you at
ईमेल फॉरवर्ड कर दिया आपने
the time I was utilizing in between. I felt that the Marpol note. I'll bring it on the screen. Annex 6 required some revision, some addition. I felt that it was not sufficient for understanding of your exam point of view. So I have sent the revised version, keeping in mind the most frequent questions I've asked, that is about uh, energy efficiency design index, EEDI, and CFAN operational index, etc. Keeping in that mind, I have changed the last part and sent you the revised version. So yes, that as we will discuss, bringing it on screen. So that will be very very handy for your exam point of view. Now, I've started with this. Before I bring that Word document, I've seen that instead of the PowerPoint, I will guide as per the as per the Word document. Now, uh, if, as far as Annex 1 is concerned, believe me, uh, there is a lot of focus on memorizing things. For example, remember, as far as special areas are concerned, there are two annexes which outrightly have special areas. Annex 1 to do with oil and Annex 5 to do with carbon. Annex 4 has one special area, but there is a special requirement. It is not applicable in case of oil ships. With regard to Annex 2, from 1st of July 2007, when the entire annex was revised completely, the strategy was revised. So the concept of special area has changed. There is therefore only one special area, and when I'm dealing with that, you'll have to keep that in mind. But these you will have to memorize. Gulf area means the Persian Gulf. If you write Persian Gulf, not that you are making a principal error, but it is no longer known as Persian Gulf because आपस में झगड़ा हो गया भाई. There are 8 countries surrounding the Gulf. Persia means Iran, so obviously countries like Iran objected that if the Gulf belongs to us as well, why it should be known as Persian? So झगड़ा सुलझाने के लिए it is known as the Gulf area. Then you have the Gulf of Aden, Antarctic, Northwest European waters. Do not make a mistake with the North Sea. Northwest European waters, it is demarcated separately. Oman area of Arabian Sea and south of South African waters. Now, I will not go on the definition part of it so much because uh, these are not very exact centric. The focus is that this is a statutory certificate, valid 5 years. Valid IOPP certificate is the proof on board that the ship is in complete compliance of Annex 1 mandatory requirements. Now, let's go Let me try and let me bring that Word document. Just give me a moment. Gentlemen, can you see the Word document?
Yes, sir.
Okay. This is what I have said to you, and the revised version, initial part is all the same, but this part, 2 pages, I have added from here. All that is same, but I felt this, uh, you know, energy efficiency regulation was just two lines from exam point of view. This I have during today itself, I have added, and this whole thing will be perfect for your business. So, coming to what you have to focus on. This all we have discussed in the body. The question which are asked in both is controlled discharge of oil from machinery spaces, which is applicable to oil ships. Therefore, the oil record book, which is divided into two parts, part A and part B, or part one or part two. Part one is applicable to all ships, that is machinery spaces. Signed by chief engineer, countersigned by master, every entry. The second part is applicable to tankers of 150 gross tons and above, and that deals with all cargo handling, loading, discharge of dirty ballast, etc. Everything, which is the responsibility of the chief officer to fill up all the entries to be countersigned by the master. Now, there are few things that you have to, this you will memorize. In oral, for example, the question is very frequently asked that what is the meaning of en route? Always remember, en route means ship moving under its own propulsion, specifically from point A to point B. What is the emphasis of this? Under its own propulsion and point A to point B. The first part is, suppose you are in an area where you are having a very favorable, let's say, hypothetically tidal current, or 6 knot current. Okay, the master decides that we are drifting. We are actually moving along with the current. Put the engine off, and we can discharge the engine. No, that because that should be taken as en route. No, that is not en route because the ship is not under its own propulsion. Number two, Suppose you have got a 10-day accurate, nice weather, captain and chief engineer. You decide that we go beyond 12 nautical miles beyond the country's, territorial sea, 20, 25 miles, go around a circle, discharge the bilges, come back, no questions asked. That is not en route, even though the ship would be under its own propulsion going round and round. No. En route, we is under propulsion from A to B. The speed of the ship is not important here. 1 knot, 20 knots, your call. So therefore, keep very important advice. That is why a number of times you would have asked that the engine room calls up the bridge and requests for the position of the ship lat long, because what does it mean? That they are popping out the benches outside the special area, within special area, etc. And they have to log in the coordinate that between this coordinate to that coordinate, the ship was en route and so many, volume of the effluent bilge discharge was made. Because every aspect of the oil record book entry is checked by the port state control. They put a lot of emphasis in checking every entry. So, control of operational discharge inside the special area. This is, earlier part this was discharge outside special areas and inside special areas. Is prohibited except when the following conditions are met. You can discharge inside special area from machinery spaces. Okay, the ship is en route. You have number 2, oil filtering equipment meeting the technical requirements. What are the technical requirements? That there is a functional cutoff device and an audible alarm, which becomes a functional the moment the oil content effluent exceeds the 15 ppm. The valve will shut off automatically and the alarm will go off in the engine room. The most important part. So if inside the special area, the bilges have been popped out, then make sure, be prepared that the PFC will go into the engine room and tell the chief engineer we want to see the functioning of the auto cut-off device on the discharge pump, as well as the audible alarm. And the other 2 things that does not originate from cargo pump room bilges, it is exclusively engine room, and there is no possibility of mixture of the cargo residues, then it can be used. Are you with me till here? You will have to remember this part of it. This is a very common thing. We are talked about machinery
Yes, sir.
spaces only outside special area and inside special area. Then cargo spaces, you will have to memorize this A to F. Okay, the minimum distance 50 nautical miles en route is the thing, instantaneous rate of discharge, etc. Everything. And then this is, sorry, I said part A. It is part 1, which is machinery space. These are the technical requirements of the oil filtering equipment. Just read it once, keep it in mind. You don't have to memorize it. But I have included it. It is come in handy at the time of your own. Then oil record book. This part is important because there are a number of companies who are doing, your marine environment protection course, which we had developed it. And one of the big requirements was that every officer, engineering side or the nautical side, one part of the course, what they course, 2 hours must be spent on, oil record book exercise. That how is the oil record book filled up practically? Once I've completed Marpol, once I have completed your syllabus, I will have time. Then actually I have got the slide that what are the correct entries, what are the incorrect entries. Because now you're going to become a mate. At the last moment, the chief engineer brings, I mean, he may be on the bridge approaching the pilot, and it's a very common thing, not the correct practice, but sometimes it happens. The chief engineer may come that before arrival port, you want the master's signature. There is an additional officer on the ship, and as a captain, I've done it, that they'll tell you, they made, okay, just check the oil record book entries are correct, then I'll just put one signature. So you should know that what is where. And I will show you on the screen that what are the correct ways and what are the incorrect way to catch. So, so that part is to be filled by the chief engineer. This part is for the chief officer to be filled. This is the technical details of the ODFCS. All this is with you. And what happened here? Annex 2, I want to take it tomorrow. So what I'll do is I will bring the oil record book entries, and I will just let me just check. I hope you can see the slide.
Yes.
Part 1 applicable to all ships because this is to do with uh, your engine room, and the entry has to be made for machinery spaces, and it has to be retained on board the ship for minimum 3 years. This is Marpol requirement, not flag state requirement. Okay, after the last date of entry. All this, that what is the code, etc. I'll just come to that. You know, there was a time up to very safely, you can say 15 years ago, that you know uh, chief engineers could show that whatever the movement of oil that has been, we are talking about machinery spaces, that 1% of the total capacity can be shown as sludge. So that gave a little bit of maneuverability to the chief engineer. Now it is an unwritten law, no more. Every drop of any kind of oil, fuel oil, diesel oil, movement of your lube oil from the drums to the tank, the Filipino, they keep doing that from the deck, etc. Or for whatever reason, for stability reasons, other reasons, if from one fuel tank, the DB tank to another, it has been transferred. Every movement of every drop of oil has to be recorded in part 1 of the oil record book. So, this is the thing which I wanted to, I didn't want to go in detail here. I want to show you the diagram here. Common mistakes made in oil record book. I have not sent this. Do you want me to send this to you? It will come in handy as a ready reckoner for you to take it in soft on board the ship. There are about 3 slides or something.
Yes, sir. Please.
Okay, so this item number. It has to be absolutely clear cut. No slash 11.1 slash 11.2 and ये यहाँ पे लगा दिया and the different types of oil etc. not allowed. This is a very very common mistake. If you find this, you tell the chief engineer, sir, this is wrong. I tell the captain on the bridge. The correct way is this all is given in the reverse of the oil record book. 11.1 fuel oil sludge tank. 11.2 is your uh, your name, rank, side of the, sorry, not this, but under item number 11.1 is your name of the tank, 11.2 is the quantity of that particular sludge, and 11.3 if it's a different type of sludge. यहाँ पे स्लैश करके 11 fuel oil sludge tank capacity this, retained this, LO lube oil sludge tank capacity this, not allowed. This is the correct way. ये पूरा एक कर दिया और there have to be 2 separate entries जो यहाँ पे पूरा एक दिखा दिया. That is the weekly inventory, the common mistake made here, not to be done. Then another sludge collection. It has to be item wise. Waste oil tank capacity this, waste oil tank retention this, collected from fuel oil overflow tank, etc. etc. यहाँ पे item number एक गलत था and this whole thing is fudged up. That is not allowed. Name, rank, and side of chief engineer, and the next column will be against every signature of the chief engineer countersigned by the boss. Another mistake here. You can figure out yourself that what is, see this, bilge water from bilge water holding tank. Started, you have to write the GMP also. This is the common mistake. And only the GMP is not sufficient. Why? Because if there is a doubt, then along with this, the oil record book has this entry. The PhD inspector will come on the bridge on that particular date. He will check the start and the stop time, local time on the thing, and what is the position of the ship. Is it matching or not? Because that is what is written here. Okay?
Yes, sir.
And finally, this is not a mistake. This is the correct record of operation. So these are, I will send all this to you. This is very good to have it. I may be having more also somewhere, but and I will, what I'll do is, you remember I have sent you a very detailed table of official logbook entries, which is not only required, I mean, very, very handy for your exams or your orals. I will just try that. It took me a very, very long time to make. I will make a similar one. Give me about a week's time. I will make that table wise as a ready reckoner for oil record book.
And send it to you any entries which are required. I mean, if the exams that are asked. Then, as part of the last part of your what should I say, Annex 1, before I start Annex 2 and cover the optional annexes the day after tomorrow. That will, no, maybe tomorrow or day after, and then I'll just take one lecture on OPA 90. Yes, a very common question which is asked is the content of the SOPEP manual. Now, that has to be memorized. There are about 13, 14 of them. Let me just check. It has all been said to you. SOPEP. Where is SOPEP? Phase 2. Just give me a moment. I have it. I can't figure out where I have. Okay. Okay. We will knock off for the day, Sergeant Sir. It's past 4:40, and I finished and completed the topic which I wanted to complete. So, gentlemen, thank you very much. I have lecture number again 6 tomorrow, and I will complete the entire Marpol, all the important part of the annexes from understanding as well as your practical point of view from annexes 2 to 6, so that day after tomorrow, on Wednesday, lecture number 1, I will have OPA 90. One lecture is more than sufficient. So, thank you very much and have a good day, have a good evening, and I will see you tomorrow.